Hello, welcome. So today in How Women Build and What It Really Takes, I have the pleasure of being joined by Zoe Cross, a keynote speaker and a strategic leadership coach who will be sharing the behind the scenes of juggling corporate work and entrepreneurship. And I'm also super excited about being joined by Araba, an MSc student from Essex Business School, who's supporting the research into the rising female entrepreneurship, which these interviews are feeding into, and ultimately giving us a picture of how women are shaping the current entrepreneurial landscape. Over to you, Araba.
Thank you very much, Maria. My name is Iraba and I'm an MSc student and I'll be going ahead with the interviews. Zoe, so I'd like to ask you who you are, what your business is, and how long you've been in business. And can you briefly describe your journey and what pushed you to starting your own business?
Hi, well, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, so my name's Zoe Anthea Cross. I always put the Anthea in because there's a model in Australia, Zoe Cross. So I'm one of the other Zoe Crosses. And I don't have a so-called model appearance. In fact, I have a rare form of facial paralysis, which of course has been part of my story since birth. Because it means that I have experienced a level of discrimination, microaggression, stigmatization, isolation, not so many people encounter, whether that was at school, literally on the streets, in playgrounds, at work. Actually, interestingly, never at university, but everywhere else, basically. I've had an international life because I've lived and born in Germany, lived in England, worked, studied in England, Ireland, Japan, and now back in Germany. And so I never let my facial paralysis stop me from going anywhere, even though there were times when people didn't quite believe that I was up to certain things. I was able to do something. And this is why today I support ambitious minority female leaders and aspiring female leaders, whether that is in corporate or like me, leaving, making their way out of corporates and to set up their own business because they have not been seen for their full potential inside corporate. It's part of the story, part of the backstory why I am now on stage, because so many people in the facial difference community, which we call it internationally, in the past were told to hide away or to keep quiet. And so I today help women, especially minority women, to go from invisible to invincible and to get out there, to become visible, to overcome that imposter syndrome and to be as authentically themselves as possible, because that is what makes them invincible. One of the motivating factors for starting the business was that I was in corporate. I made a name for myself, but I came to a kind of plateau and I had the feeling I was no longer able to move upwards or forwards. And in fact, I encountered some bullying and some difficult treatment by some very troubled managers where I realized that if he's not allowing me to do something, if he's not allowing me to reach my potential, far from it, then maybe I need to go outside or need to start outside. And that was literally, it was literally initially a trial and error thing. I was bored. I was just bored. And I thought, well, I can do all these things. Let's try them outside of the company if the company isn't appreciating them. And I initially started as a freelance translator. So from about 2019, I officially launched into coaching and by accident into speaking.
And what do you mean by accident?
It was actually as part of my role in corporate, I was representing staff members, and as a representative, I went on training and discovered things like TEDx speakers, and then I saw somebody in a wheelchair, somebody with brittle bone disease. This amazing sex speech. 1 or 2 years later, maybe 2018 that was, I saw a person with a facial difference give a TEDx speech. I had played in theatre as a teenager, and that was amazing. But I'd left the theatre. I hadn't done anything on stage really for years. But when I saw those two people, I thought, wow, it was not, I can do that. It was more, I would love to be able to do what they are doing. And so then by accident or chance, somebody said, I'll come along to an event. And I ended up starting a kind of speaker training, official business speaker training. And I
So
then discovered that people enjoyed it, and I did as well. The I would say the bullying, the difficult situation, that was now easily more like 15 years ago. And so that was the initial spark. And then there was a second one, which was that I was always single. Because of my appearance, I was of the firm belief that it would be impossible ever to find a partner. Because of the bullying, I went on a bit of, let's say, I was looking for answers and discovering other people with the same condition. It absolutely transformed my life, because I then discovered there were people like me who actually had partners, and they were married, and they even had children. I then, about a year later, met the person who today is my husband. He taught me so many things, and I thought, what else have I been telling myself? What other limiting things have I been telling myself that they're not possible, when maybe they are? Experiencing life with him and witnessing the level of love and devotion that he was showing me, I thought, wow, maybe I've been very frustrated at work as well, and maybe it's time to see what else I can do professionally. So it's almost as a kind of catalyst as well.
very, very, very incredible. Have you faced setbacks, or what were your fears that you had starting your own business, and how did you address them?
I think one of the biggest things was certain people in my surroundings, my closer circle of friends and acquaintances, and a very good friend at the time. It was like being in the Spanish Inquisition. It was like being in the Spanish Inquisition. Why do you want to become a coach? This is dangerous. This is the witches, the devil's work. It was crazy. It was, I mean,
Yeah.
today I think it was so crazy, and it just shows how paranoid people can be. And having said that, and how I coped with that was that my discovering or looking for a partner, or going on that journey of looking for a partner, I had to overcome some serious doubts and also anxieties, because there were things that my parents had, or my mother specifically, had said to me, which were like law, and it was taken for granted, like, for example, that you don't go out alone ever. As a woman, you go with somebody else. So I had to realize that is not going to work for me. If I don't go alone, I'm not going to go. And there were certain beliefs about partners that I had discovered to be untrue and not helpful for me in that process. And I think that really helped me while I was on this journey to experiment with coaching, then experiment with speaking. Was I thought, not everything that everyone says to you has to be your truth. Looking and then finding even a partner was really key.
That's very impressive. So would you say you had a support system that helped you transition into entrepreneurship? How important were they to your transitioning?
About 2018, I started on the road to personal development initially. I had a high performance coach. I had no idea about business at all. And then discovered, actually, you can be a high performer. Who defines what a high performer is as well? So that was the first mindset shift. But straight after that, although one of the mistakes I made was that I found myself a web designer and paid a lot of money to make a website, and I would never do that. So I would never recommend to somebody, get yourself a website straight away. That's a huge mistake. But in the process of doing that, I discovered this whole online world of online summits, online coaches, online coaching. And I think it was very late 2018 that I invested in a business coach. And through that investment, I then found my first circle of friends, business friends, and that in itself multiplied. And also with the speaking, I then joined this circle of business people who were partly completely in business, partly still part-time employee. And ever since then, they are my people.
So entering into entrepreneurship, tell us how the experience was for you. Did you the business invitation, or you met some roadblocks, or you were hit by some reality checks? How was it for you?
I'm wondering how much expectations I had and whether it was more discovering. One thing was certainly time and energy management, not really realizing that building a business would be quite energy consuming. At the beginning, I was told, put aside 1 or 2 hours a day. You should have 1 or 2 hours a day to work on your business or clients. And so I followed this rule, but turned into something completely different. Now I have certain things to do and I have to get them. Some things I need to get done, so I plan my time, but I do not, I never planning do 2 hours maximum today, because it's way more than that. What I now understand is that work and play, they blend in very, very much. And I was yesterday in a conversation with some people who were not in business, and they were saying, what are you doing the rest of Sunday afternoon? And I said, well, this may sound sad, but I'm really looking forward to going home and doing and working on something specific on my business, because it just brings joy. That wasn't really, I didn't quite anticipate it that going that well.
What are some of the challenges you faced, and then how did you overcome those challenges? And would you say that you faced those challenges mainly because you are a woman? Would that be a factor for those challenges?
I'm thinking of one challenge that I do link with being educated, being trained as a woman, growing up as a woman, let's say, and that is about money and asking for the sale. Very much, things like my mother saying, always a throwaway statement, yeah, Zoe's not a gold digger. And gold digger being this horrible person, as a woman, you don't want to be. And asking for the sale and owning your value in terms of the service that you bring. That is a huge challenge, which I think is linked to being a woman, especially difficult because of our upbringing, or certainly my upbringing. I have a grandfather who was in business. He was a hairdresser. I have the work ethic from my mother, but otherwise I don't have much influence there. Think of other challenges. I think very much about what I mentioned earlier, the thinking outside of the box, thinking unconventionally, saying, what do I have to follow these rules? Because everyone else, you have to work, you have to be an employee. you have to do X, Y, and Z, nothing else is going to work, or this kind of thinking. And it's really important to find, because I'm confronted with this thinking every day inside the company, but I know today that there are people that I know, there are circles that I'm in who understand this, but they also see things in a different way.
This is
Yeah.
great, Zoe. I think I love that you said about challenges the conventional approaches, challenges the way that women are conditioned and what the society is telling us, and like even more importantly, mother's truths. The things that there's nothing more probably holy for us as we grow up. So, mothers want the best for us. They keep us safe, all of this, and how this can hinder us when we want to pursue, I don't know, our ambition, our dreams, and really, really appreciate you sharing that.
Did you ever reach a point where you had to change the way you were thinking concerning your business to drive a successful change into your business?
It was a challenge in the beginning. I don't know how this works in England, but certainly here in Germany, you officially need to ask for permission, or you need to tell your employer that you are doing something else on the side. Of course, because I wanted to be very, very visible on LinkedIn. Because I already had a very good network on LinkedIn. So I thought I have to ask for permission. I got permission. And still I thought, wow, I'm going to have to start posting here, doing stuff on LinkedIn, especially Facebook and Instagram as well, but also LinkedIn. And I thought, oh, how am I going to show to them that I am devoting my time and energy to the company, while at the same time it's obvious that I'm also doing something else on the side? I suddenly realized, what if being an employee, a part-time employee, and working on something on the side was actually not diverting energy away from things, but actually creating a massive synergy? And one thing that happened was that at some point, because I'm a Works Council member, I have connections with managers, and there was a news article. Yes, there was a newspaper article published locally, and my immediate bosses said to me, "Ooh, that's a bit difficult," but they were also admiring. Whereas the HR director said, "Wow, I don't care about this certain little bit of text in the article. It's just brilliant." And I thought, wow, okay. So that was a very, very positive reaction. And what I then realized, that although I have not really received much training in the company in the last couple of years, I've invested myself in training outside of the company in a way that the company would never have provided for me. And so I bring all of this experience into the company as well. And it helped me to overcome this feeling of there's a feeling of shame. So because of my appearance and because of various things, I've had to contend with the feeling of shame. And it's a very, very negative emotion, really. And it was part of my path, discovering, having these reactions, and also realizing, wait a minute, I'm growing outside. I was able to say, yeah, this emotion this feeling is not helpful. It's very natural, and it's okay that it's there, but it's something that you are allowed to grow out of or work on, because this will help you. It will not only help me, it will help me to grow and to do things with more courage, but also it's part of who I can then help.
So how do you perceive the post-COVID entrepreneurship environment?
COVID was a very intense time. COVID was actually helpful for me. Everyone was online, and I was already online. I was busy in my job. But apart from my day job, I didn't have very much else that I could do, so I could focus a lot on my speaker network, my business, and also the the coaching.
Okay, so are there any huge differences between pre-COVID and post-COVID?
I would say that post-COVID, so of course there was this general trend to go on more online, to build out things online. And of course, maybe my view is a little bit biased because I'm in the thick of it, but I have the feeling that post-COVID, women are looking at other possibilities. They're no longer so willing to put up with things, willing to put up with employers where they feel that they are not being seen. It is actually something that I have been warning employers generally, that people have other opportunities, and the so-called war on talent or talent drain is significantly because there are other options outside of corporate jobs.
Okay. So Zoe, what would you say are your greatest achievements? What are some of the successes you've achieved, and what gives you the most satisfaction?
One of them is certainly the discovery of how much fun. I mean, the TEDx speech, but also how much fun it is to be on stage, and the transformation is that I see with people when I have been speaking on stage, and people come up to me, or even years later they come back, so that there's joy and transformation on both sides. Yeah, I'm part of a movement. I'm part of a movement of people, and especially people in the facial difference community worldwide, a community that has been stigmatized for centuries, called witches. We used to be classified as witches and evil people. Now I feel very proud and privileged
Yeah.
and also humble to be part of a community where somebody I know in America is now officially a model on the New York catwalk, and I have actually been called beautiful online, and so that does something to me, thinking, well, we are redefining beauty. Apart from everything else, we are redefining the role of visible difference and redefining what is possible for these people like us.
So what are some of the lessons you've learned, and what would you advise women who are hoping to venture into entrepreneurship?
Lots of things, but first of all, to get curious and try things out. And I literally tried so many things out. I just wanted experiences, and if they're not, so I didn't started as a translator, and then discovered, oh yeah, this is quite fun, but then realized there's something else I want to do, and so definitely I would advise people to try things out, experiment, find what is fun. What is fun for you? Because this is another of those beliefs. We have to do something that makes money. You have to do something that makes money, and sometimes the emphasis is on the making money, and it's obvious you can make money with this. Whereas sometimes we do not. We do need to follow what actually brings us joy, because that is part of. It's not the whole thing, but it is can be part of what actually makes us money in the end, because we have the heart and soul, and we need the grit and determination as well when things get tricky. But so the combination of finding something that lights you up and sticking at it, but also experimenting. And sometimes experiments go wrong, and that's normal. And a huge thing is find people who support you. Can be very quick, and I'm the same. I didn't know that in the beginning. Just because somebody said that something is not possible, the question is, where is that person coming from? Has that person got the relevant experience that you are looking for, that you want to make? And if it's somebody, I'm going to be really blatant here, but if somebody any business, then they don't really have that perspective. So they don't, in that instance, they don't really have the right to say something about creating a business. And so always talk to people who are maybe a little bit further along than you are, and that can mean getting mentors and coaches. And another, a huge, really huge thing is fear. So I stand for courage, and courage only exists where there is also fear. It's like two sides of the same coin. You can't have courage if you're not scared as well. And too often people think that fear is a sign that you should stop. I was so scared when I was in the process of finding out about this guy in Ireland, part of my love story. I was so scared. But I realized if I don't find out what the heck he wants or what is going on here, I may never have the opportunity to understand what's going on, or it may be the once in a lifetime opportunity to understand something. And let's say if it's not about jumping off a cliff, something that's physically just, and even that could be, but fear can be more like a green light to move forward. It might actually be your sign that you need to go there so that you can grow and have an experience which will actually change your perspective and change your life.
What's your view on the entrepreneurial landscape? Do you think women are moving forward? Women are doing well in the entrepreneurial space now?
My experience is that yes, more and more we have the traditional, I say, bro marketing and the traditional go 24/7, 24/7. Also, this mentality of selling, like selling is hitting on somebody, getting the money and disappearing off into the distance, making the sale whatever cost. And that is something that so many people that I know are no longer interested in. I'm not saying that all women are like that or all men are like that, but what I've experienced is that women are having the opportunity and are making changes in the way sales are made, the way business is made, and the way impact is made in the world. So we need a balance between the masculine energy and female energy, but I think women have so much to offer, and I think they are making progress. And anyone who doesn't believe that, I think they haven't quite seen the signs of the times.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Thank you very much. I'm really inspired by your story and the last message on fear.
Thank you for
Really impacted. Thank you very much.
It's been, fantastic. Lovely to hear your insights. From that really unique perspective as someone with facial paralysis, it's so many multiple elements at play for you and starting a business and juggling employment. This is possible for me. What else is possible?
Yeah.
It's just such an opener. All these beliefs that we are fed with growing up. And first of all, you've got to realize you've got that belief to then be able to work through it. And then also manage the fear and the courage, as you said, to see whether, things are possible.